What's up, everybody? It's your boy back with another reaction video. I'll be reacting to four startling true teenager horror stories. I figured I'd watch this. I was a teenager once, a long time ago. I was a big teen. I was like 6'1" from when I was like 14 till I was 18. When then I grew another inch. uh, Weighed about 215, bounced between 215 and 220. So, and I was boxing and doing martial arts stuff like that. So I was like, I'm a bad motherfucker. Can't nobody gonna step to me. Me, I whoop a grown man's ass. Well, yeah, so I was like teenage horror story. It's nothing like being afraid though. When you're young, especially when I was a kid, like a little kid, and you feel that fear. Just like I haven't felt that type of fear in a very long time. But let's see what stories Nightmare Files has for us about teenage fear. So, oh yeah, this is from Nightmare Files. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description to the original video so you can go out check it out. Support Nightmare Files channel. He has a really good channel, really good narration. So check him out. And without further ado, here we go.
Then we stopped. When I went home that night, it seemed like a regular night until I went to the bathroom before bed. After I was done, I started washing my hands, then I heard.
Oh shit.
Nightmare Files.
Wait, did I turn that down or turn that up? Picture with a heart pillow and in there and a gas mask. Interesting.
I was the typical young girl, but when I was 13, something happened to me that was unexplainable. By the way, my name is Maya. I can remember at the end of 7th grade year, for the last weeks of school, we didn't have much to do, so we watched a lot of movies in our classes, and the teacher really didn't care what we did. We started to stay in our homerooms all day. Then there was this one day when all the boys were playing basketball in the gym. And some of us girls and guys that didn't want to play, we went to our social room. A few of us noticed a trend on Instagram about Ouija boards. So this girl I knew brought one in. There was a big group of us in the social room messing with the board, but nothing ever happened. That was until the big group walked away. Then there were 3 of us. We asked simple questions.
And the ghost was like, oh, shit, it's 3, y'all.
Are ghosts real? We sat there for a few seconds and it started to move. And it went V-E-R-Y. All of us blamed it on each other, but it still freaked us out. Then we stopped. When I went home that night, it seemed like a regular night until I went to the bathroom before bed. After I was done, I started washing my hands, then I heard, Maya. I stopped washing my hands, then I heard one single footstep. My heart was pounding. I looked up from the sink into the mirror, and there was someone standing behind me in the doorway of the bathroom. He looked old and very angry. My eyes got big, but I was frozen in fear. I looked back in the sink and shook my head like it wasn't real. I heard,
"You're not real."
Again.
You're not real.
I looked in the mirror and the man was closer to me. I looked back down into the sink.
At least he didn't do that teleporting shit real. Like they do in movies and the ghosts be standing outside. They be right up on you teleport.
I was still frozen.
They show like they moving really fast.
But our wax candle still lit the room.
I hate that.
I heard Maya again, followed by a footstep.
They coming to get you, Barbara.
I opened them, and the man was right behind me. I closed my eyes again, and I said, "This isn't real."
That's what it is.
Said,
Mary. I didn't know he
I ran
was
out
outside.
of there so fast I knocked over a few towels. I told my mother, but she blew me off.
Shit, get the
I
fuck
begged
out
to
of my
sleep on the
face.
floor that night and she let me. I told my friends about what happened that night, and they had the same type of experience. But guess who isn't playing with Ouija boards again? Me.
I wish that they drew in the mirror, like he was like on the mirror. He just wrote "Barry." Maybe that was that person's last words. So Barry. Say Barry just stabbed in the throat.
My friend and I
So,
both planned on
is
watching
that?
our
Oh,
high
those
school
are two
basketball
houses. I was
team
like,
playing a
is
really
that
big
one
tournament
house?
game. He lived literally less than a mile from the arena where the tournament was being held.
I always like
We
houses
both
with those
agreed that
big
5 o'clock
brick
was a good
pillars
time
like
to go
that.
walk over there together as we both didn't have a car. And that was a good time to get good seats.
I like
as
when the brick
arena
goes
would be
all the
packed
way
around
up.
6:30. Around 4 o'clock that day, I was at the shopping center that is about 2 blocks away from his house. 4:35 rolled around, and I started to leave the shopping center and walk my way over to Shane's house. On the way there, I had the sudden urge to piss, and I didn't know how much longer I could hold it. It felt like an eternity, but I arrived at his street at 4:45.
Don't hold it bad for you.
And I felt like my bladder was about to explode. As I got there, I realized how spaced out the houses are from one another, so finding a private place to urinate seemed impossible. However, I finally found a very large bush in front of a house that was for rent around half a mile down from Shane's house. And I looked around for anyone that would be standing around. Nobody was there. Relieved, I began to use the bathroom. I hear someone from a short distance walking. Embarrassed, I quickly zipped my pants up and looked back. It was an older man, probably around mid-50s to early 60s, about 5'8" and 150 pounds, wearing an outdated style pair of overalls and a red baseball cap.
Overalls
He was staring at me
never
intensely,
go out of style.
as if he were mad at me for some reason.
Boy.
While walking in my direction,
Probably mad at you because you
I
pissing
began to
out
walk
in
in the
public.
direction of Shane's house, which was the direction that the man was coming from, and I was passing him. I realized that he had 2 little boys with him, both around the ages of 10 to 12, along with a dog that was attached to a leash. I didn't think much of them until I heard a door swing open aggressively and someone yelling, "Hey, come back here." I looked back and saw that the man was armed with a rifle. He started running toward me, and I instantly started running faster than I thought humanly possible. He was about 2 car lengths behind me, and I could see Shane's house coming up. I looked back and saw my life flash before my eyes when I saw him starting to point the rifle at me and fire a shot that barely missed my left side. I yanked Shane's door open and slammed it shut, locking it in the process. Shane came running from his room, asking if I was okay and what happened. I told him everything while out of breath from running so much, and he was freaking out.
He didn't even start peeing.
Shane ended up reporting the incident, and when the police came back, they found no one. The man was gone. It turns out the house was up for rent for the past 6 months at the time, and has been vacated since then. I gave them a description of the man again, and that was that. Surprisingly, Shane wanted to go to the basketball game anyway, but I didn't want to go anymore.
So you get shut out. Let's go to
I
the
didn't
game
want to
anyway.
just leave him there by himself, so I reluctantly went. Shane and I ended up needing to get a ride, as we both knew it wasn't safe to go outside and walk over there. It was getting a little late out there, and friends were waiting for us to show up at the arena.
I was shot
I
at
had
today.
a hard time enjoying the game, as I couldn't shake off the fact that I could have lost my life back there. And if it wasn't for Shane's front door being unlocked,
especially you're not
I
used to
probably
that shit.
wouldn't be here.
This dude chased him with a rifle. This kid and shot at him. Well, some people don't need guns. Because apparently he can even
My
start
name is
pissing.
Nicole, and I'm 16 years old. During my freshman year, I would walk to and from school. I didn't take the bus because I got bullied a lot, so I walked to help clear my mind and just relax. I took the same path every day, which was passing by some old buildings, a daycare, and an empty parking lot. I did that a lot for about 5 months. I was leaving my apartment and walking towards the back of the buildings.
It's almost kind of like my brother's
I ran into
neighborhood.
this man.
So there's a lot
He
more
looked to be in his late
trees
20s,
here than
had a
in his
white shirt
neighborhood.
on, and was bald.
Now you're going to see what for.
He said hi and be careful. It was pretty random, but I blew him off. I kept walking for about 5 minutes and I got to the old buildings. And a white truck pulled up next to me. I turned and I saw it was the same man. He asked me if I needed a ride and I said no.
Hell no.
He said, "Are you sure? I know you go to that school down the road and in the 10th grade.
Bitch.
It won't be a bother." And my heart sank.
It won't be a bother.
I'd never seen this man in my life, and he knew what school I went to and what grade I was in. I declined again, and he drove off.
I'll just
I
rate.
didn't tell
Drive
my
you
mom about the
down.
incident. I just
to where
kept
you need
walking
to
to
go.
and from school. A week passed, and I saw him again by the old buildings. It was foggy and raining outside, and he pulled up next to me in the same white truck. He rolled down the window and asked, "Do you need a ride,
I
sweetheart?"
threw a
We
roll
were going to get all
flare
wet,
in the
and I said no
car.
thanks, and continued to walk
I'd be like,
faster. He started to follow me and kept saying things like, "Come on, it's cold, and I know you don't want to walk out there. It's just a 2-minute drive, you'll be fine."
Fuck off.
I turned and told him to leave me alone, and that I had to get to school. I guess me raising my voice and saying what I had to say made him mad. He put the vehicle in park and opened
Fuck
the
him.
door. My heart sank and I froze. I couldn't run. I couldn't speak. I was in shock.
You
He
couldn't
started
run.
walking toward me.
Why?
And then an old man walked out of nowhere and said, "Hey Cassie, I didn't see you all day yesterday. You didn't show up for work and I was worried. Can you help me with something really quick?" It was the man from the store. I understood what he was doing. I turned and the man with the white truck ran back to his truck
Good
and
man.
took off.
He was just like, I'm
I
about to
started
take
crying
your
as the old
ass.
man told me he had saw what happened
He's like-
and had to spring into action. I thanked him and called my
He's like,
friend
I
to
will
drop me
not
off
be
at school.
denied.
Later on that day, I had forgotten about the incident until my
Sick
teacher
fuck.
pulled me out of class. He told me that when he was driving into work, he saw what had happened and how the man had been following me. He took me to the front office and had to make a report and called my mom to inform her what happened. The police said they would look into it, but they never found the man. I would have given them the plate number, but at the moment, when it all happened, I haven't thought of that. I'm a sophomore now, but I don't walk to school anymore after that. In fact, I don't really go outside of my apartment at all. I often think about what would have happened if that old
Sophomore
man
in
never came out
college?
the store and what the guy in the truck would have done to me.
Were they in college? She in college? Wait, what? I thought you said 10th grade. Did I? What? Oh, fuck.
I'm 25 now, but this story happened when I was 16. I was camping with my dad and my twin sister at Cross Lake, Alberta. We will call my sister Mary and me Tilly. Mary and I are not identical. She is taller, blonde, has dark blue eyes, and tan skin. I'm shorter with icy green eyes, fit and not as tan. It was midnight when Mary and I went looking for an outhouse to use before going to bed. We were walking down a path with a lantern when we saw another light heading toward us. We walked past a guy that looked to be in his late 20s, giving us a smirk. We chuckled as we continued down the path when Mary decided to look one more time. When she looked back, she saw him still standing there with the same smirk on his face. This
He
time
like,
it was more sinister. She froze in her steps, pulling my arm to get me to stop with her. The stare down between us
I'd have
was
been like,
so intense
okay.
that I just wanted to go back to our campsite just so I could pee in the trees. What happened next made my heart stop.
He started
The
running,
strange man
chasing.
slowly started walking toward us. He then turned off his lantern so we couldn't see him. This made Mary and I run as fast as we could. We can hear the man's footsteps getting closer as he was letting out crazy laughs. The path we were on split off in two different
You
directions.
fucking joker?
Mary
What the
turned
fuck?
right with the lantern and I turned left with nothing but
He's
fear.
running,
The path
laughing.
ended up taking me near the beach of the lake. I kept running until I can see an outdoor change room where I ended up hiding. It didn't have doors, but I could see through the
course it
holes
didn't.
through the wooden walls by using the light from the moon. I sat there in silence for what felt like forever and was convinced that he must have stopped chasing me a while ago. I took
Did he?
one more glance through the hole in the wall when I heard the man's voice behind me say, "Don't be scared of me, Tilly. I just want to keep your eyes." I screamed and ran out of that room, but he caught me and threw me onto the floor. I was doing my best to fight him off. I was kicking, scratching, and crying when unexpectedly I had dirt in my mouth. The man was trying to muffle my cries by shoving dirt in my mouth.
Oh,
He was then suddenly tackled off of me and began to gasp for air while being choked. I didn't know who was fighting off my attacker, but I didn't want to stick around to find out. I ran out of the change room and seen a few flashlights heading in my direction. I came to a halt when I saw Mary running out of the group towards me. Mary and I kept our distance while we seen the mob of people screaming, attempting to peel off the hero from my attacker. Through all the
Why peel
moving
him up?
lights,
Let him beat his
I
ass.
managed to see my hero, and it ended up being my father. I can't tell you the rage my dad had on his face. His determination to kill my attacker was so strong, a small group of people struggled to stop them from fighting. Finally, the camp security came and detained my attacker until the police arrived. 3 days later, my dad sits me down and tells me the information he got from the officers. It turns out my attacker confessed to stalking me for 2 months.
Oh wow!
He wouldn't
2
stop
months.
talking about my eyes. He has been known to stalk teen girls, and there has been some reports of him being a peeping Tom. I've never seen or heard anything
So he
else
decided to actually attack you
and I hope it
and
stays
do
that
what?
way forever.
Take your eyes. He said, "I want to keep your eyes forever." It was some TV show. I think it was either Criminal Minds or it was something where it was like a killer who would take people's eyes, and I think he was like a taxidermist, and they always say you do the eyes wrong and they look stupid and ugly, and he would take human eyes and put them in the taxidermy animals. But then they would still was like those eyes look stupid too. They would look all bug eyed and would be pointed in different directions. He was like, I like your eyes. You know, he would do that and then kill them. And I think they were all women. I think. I can't remember. It might have been men too. But yeah, that reminded me of that. But yeah, that last one. They actually got her. It's like, don't run. I just like your eyes. And I was saying, you see some shine as a fucking scalpel or some shit. Like what the fuck? This dude shoved dirt in her mouth. To keep her quiet. That's the type of thing where he is going to like end up like choking her to death, trying to keep her quiet. When he said, I was thinking it might have been her father. He said, tackled him off. They was beating his ass. I was like, yes, beat his ass. I would have let him beat his ass. If I'd have been in that group, I'd be like, I would have let him beat him for about, I don't know, maybe about 30 seconds to a minute. And I'm like, all right, pull him off. Probably until I couldn't recognize his face. Like his whole face had to be just red. Then I'm like, all right, pull him off. So he can go to jail. You don't want to kill him. You want to send his ass to jail. But yeah, some of these stories. Like, yeah, I've never had anyone stalk me or not like that anyway. I guess I'm not that type. But yeah, never had anyone do that. The only thing I had happen to me when I was a kid, and I haven't really told too many people this. I guess I'm about to tell the internet. I had a teacher when I was in the 4th grade. And that's like really only, I guess it's kind of like molesting. But it was in a math class, and she would take her shoes off, and like she'd be helping at me and helping other kids at this table, and she would take her shoes off, and she would sit across from us. And I don't know if she did this to anybody else. She did it to me. And she took her shoes off, and she was kind of like doing footsie with my privates with her feet. And at first I thought she was just kind of like using that maybe because she was on her feet all day. Me as a kid, like I'm just thinking like, okay, maybe she just, kind of just putting her foot up, and because she would move my legs apart with her feet or with her foot. But then when I looked up at her, she like was looking at me, and she had like her glass in her mouth. She was like kind of like, it's kind of like this, and she was like kind of like smiling, and that made me feel very awkward because I was like what, like, because it was just the kid's confusing, and I'd seen, I seen that look in movies. That's what I thought of, and it's always sexual, and I'm like, what? Like it was just, and then she was like, one thing my friend, I would scoop my seat back. She had done that a couple times, and I remember this particular time I would scoop my seat back. The other time I was like trying to push myself back and give her, because I'm thinking, well, maybe she come thinking, I'm just overthinking it, and she trying to just put her foot up, because she been like on her feet all day, and I remember that, but this particular time I scooped my seat back. I was just like, and I didn't say anything, never said anything to anybody else about it. I never told anybody in the class from then on, because I think it only happened 3 times, and I just stopped sitting like across from her. I would always sit, because it was like a long table, and I would always sit on the end rather than on the sides. So, because I still needed her help, because it was in a math class. So, but yeah, that's my molestation story. But I was a little kid. Yeah, like I said, I was in the 4th grade. So, yeah. But anyway, thank you all for watching my reaction. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you're new here. Hit that bell. You won't be notified when I upload new videos. Comment down below. Share this video. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.